There you heard it, ladies and gentlemen, from Killer Mike, Atlanta's own Atlanta native. My heart goes out to the city of Atlanta, um, the mayor. Um, it's just a tough weekend. Just want to give a moment of silence for everyone that we lost, past and present, to senseless violence from law enforcement or whatever kind of domestic violence, whatever. All lives matters. So, all right. Thank you everybody for checking out the Grady Taylor Show. It's what's happening in Atlanta, what's going on in Atlanta. We're going to be talking about what happened over the weekend. Also, we're going to have Sheriff Carl Mobley from DeKalb County. He will be on the show today. And I know everybody wants solution. I know our generation, young, we have to teach the old. My slogan, motto has always been each one reach one, each one teach one. And I think it's time for us to come together to teach each other the way, show them the way. Dr. King has shown us how we affect change in the economy, how we affect change. We got by boycotting. And the thing is, like if you watch the bus boycott, that set the standard right there. Change was made immediately after they did the boycott. Don't ride public transportation. Don't do this. But I know things have changed. I know people have to use public transportation now to get to work, whatever. But this is, I have a solution. And this is my thinking, so I'm thinking that if everybody stay home for 3 months and not go shopping for apparel or anything like that, don't travel, those two things, stay home for 3 months you can control the economy because you're not spending with these businesses. But what happened when you go out and protest and you get infiltrators that seeps in to the group in the peaceful gatherings, and they create this chaos. And what it's going to do? It forces law enforcement to arrest you, and then by you being arrested, it calls for you have to bail yourself out. You have to pay the state fines. You know, all this money going right and the court fines. Okay, you're gonna pay bail, city and state. You have to pay. So that money going back into the city that you're protesting against. So we have to be smart. Our currency is another way. We don't have to resort to violence. We only no let violence be your last results, but start with currency. We're going to have Sheriff Carl Mobley on today. So let me bring the cast and crew in, but I just had to get that spill off. First of all, I'm going to have to welcome the lady first, ladies first. Um, Allow me to bring in Shamika. Um, Shamika, how you doing, love?
I'm good. How you doing this morning?
All right. I got you up early in the morning and you up on the West Coast, San Angelo,
hmm
Texas. So let me ask you, was there anything going on in your city?
Yeah, they had protests downtown. The first one started out peaceful. The second one they ended up rioting, and then my daughter told me they were looting the mall. So,
Oh, wow. I mean, and all this stuff it seems simultaneously at the same time because I was watching the news, I was watching CNN, and how they're like, well, the protest was peaceful until 8 o'clock. Seemed like once 8 o'clock hit, everything all over the country just went haywire, and
hmm
so that was kind of tough for me though to sit and watch what happened to the city, my city of Atlanta, and some of the people I didn't even recognize. There was like people. Um, just outside the area. You know, I think people just came in to start looting and whatnot, and then they went to Lennox and burst windows on the stores and whatnot. They did a lot of stuff. So let me usher in. I think we have comedian Juicy here. Let me bring her in. Hey Juicy, how you doing?
Good morning. I'm okay. And
All right,
yourself?
I'm all right. So you've been out in the streets too. Let me bring Gary in also as well. G Clark, what's going on, G? And, all right,
Ladies and gentlemen,
ladies and gentlemen in the building. We got two
digging it
ladies and two gents. But
Your
let me
glasses at?
I lost them somewhere. Somebody moved them. They're here in the house because I had them here the other day when I was DJing the other night.
Oh my
Um,
God.
when I was doing a Zoom
yeah,
party Friday. Am I
yeah,
squinting?
because we was waiting to get in. We thought you couldn't see us, man.
No, no. I just had to do that opening like that, man. I'm sorry. So,
Now,
just were you out this weekend?
No,
Oh, you were not. Well, now, any of your kids was out?
nope.
Or did they go out to
My kids,
the rallies?
especially, my kids were down at Airbnb for the
Okay.
weekend, so
Okay.
they had an opportunity to see what was going on at Centennial, and then so we're gonna have a conversation about it later on this week. But I'm glad they had the opportunity to witness protest
Right. Right.
and let them know Black Lives do matter.
Yes, yeah, yes, it does, and it just sad. It just breaks my heart to watch this video. This man, you know, they keep like Killer Mike said, he's just watching like Pornhub, you know, just over and over, repeated it over and over again. Shout out software, shout out, see you checking in. Shout out Miss Jackson. G Clark, how did this weekend affect you? And I know you was out this weekend as well.
absolutely, man. I was proud. I was proud. We have to remember, man, that this nation, uh, in order to break away from British rule, was violent protest. You know, sometimes you have to speak a language that you know the people, the government, uh, the establishment understands. I again, like from last week, I'm torn, but at the same point in time, man, I'm glad to see, man, that there are you know, people actually standing up. Now, the one misconception is that The riots have been from the black kids. It has been recorded and shown repeatedly on social media. However, it's not shown on the mainstream media that it's a lot of white folks that are inciting these riots and
Yeah.
participating in doing so forth. It seems like when the people start leaving out, 8 o'clock, as you said, the curfew in Atlanta is 9 o'clock. So people are leaving to head home. And once 8 o'clock strikes, that's like, the alarm for those to go ahead and damage the good work that has been done all day. So,
Yeah.
as far as cause is concerned, yeah, I'm proud. I'm proud. You
Okay.
know,
Now,
But you know what? I had an issue. I had an issue with them down there. Um, they was on a construction site. What construction site have to do with rioting? Then they taking and tearing up the construction. What if somebody had got hurt from them the tears that was out there downtown Atlanta? But I can say one thing: I'm proud of the mayor. I have a little bit more respect for her now that she spoke out, you know, and let us know that she really, really cares about the city. The
mhm,
governor scared, nowhere to be found. Wasn't surprised,
yeah. Well,
and hats off to the police and stuff that was down there, even the National Guards.
yeah.
So it it was new to us, but I'm glad to see that it did happen. I hate that they tore up our city because we don't do that in A, but it was needed.
Yeah. Well, I'm gonna say this on the governor's behalf. The governor did reach out to the mayor Keisha Lance Bottoms and ask and say, "What can I do to help you?" You know. So he did help her with help her with the National Guards and
Was
other
it day one,
officers.
day two, or day three?
I'm not sure. I can't confirm what day it was, but
say this more.
Okay.
it was. Yeah, I guess it was a. I guess I don't know. I'm not gonna say when, but he did reach out because I was listening to another show this morning, and the mayor was speaking this morning, and she said the governor did reach out to her and ask, how can I help you? How can I be a help?" And
And we got to give shout outs to the chief of police for
yes,
Atlanta.
yes,
She did fire the two cops, and the cops were wrong for stun,
tasing the kids.
pulling out the stun gun and tasing them. They
Yes,
were wrong.
I haven't
Now they
saw the
finna
video.
cost the city money.
Yeah,
You haven't
and
seen it?
mhm. No, I haven't seen the video yet, and I don't know. When I see videos and stuff like that with cops and stuff, I just get frustrated because it takes me back to that moment of when me and my brother was walking home from my aunt's house, and we saw a guy as we were approaching the corner of who was walking down Jackson Street, walking towards Auburn Avenue, and that little strip, when you walk past Wee Street, it's a that right now it's a homeless trail. It's a one-way street where the homeless and stuff live at. So we saw a
Right.
guy. He run across
Yeah.
us and ran towards the Ebenezer Baptist Church, and then the police came shortly come behind him. So he took his gun out and pointed at me and my brother and told us to get on the ground. And there was a lady. She was running right behind the police officer, and the police had grabbed my brother. My brother like, "Yo, what we do? We didn't do nothing. We didn't do nothing." So my brother had a hoodie on, and the police grabbed my brother by the hoodie and pulled it, and it was choking my brother. And I was like, "Yo, you choking him?" So the lady like, "No, that's not him. That's not him. It's the guy over there. It's the guy over there." So the guy let us go. Didn't even apologize or nothing, and went off, and they caught the guy. But it was just one instance that I had dealing with police officers, and I had another cop another time. As a time I was working as a federal security officer, he didn't know I was a federal security officer, but I was riding through Fourth Ward, coming from my mom's house, and he was like, "What are you doing in this neighborhood? You're He's like, "What are you doing in this neighborhood?" I was like, "Well, I was leaving my mom's house." He said, "You have an ID on there?" I said, "Yes, my ID and stuff was in my glove compartment." I said, and he said, "Well, get it for me." I said, "Okay, I'm gonna reach real slow." So I'm just trying to calm him down. Hey, I'm gonna reach real slow. And he pulled his gun out. Now this is a brother, brother cop, and put it to my head and told me I'm making him nervous. So I calmly said, "How am I making you nervous? You have the gun." Now I said, in order for you to feel comfortable, you're more than welcome to come around on the passenger side of the car, reach in my glove compartment, and grab my ID. And he was like, "Okay, go ahead, but just move slow." And so I grabbed my wallet, my ID, and I had my federal badge right there, and I showed it to him. And he, he looked at it. He's like, "Man, you just be careful, this and that, la la la," and let me go. He didn't give me no ticket or anything. He's just like, "Oh, well, I'm sorry, man, about that. Sorry about that. Just be careful. I was just trying to make sure." And what I did, I called one of my friends who was a detective at the time, Detective Rose, who's a retired line of detective, and I called him, and he made some moves. And I called one of my buddies, who another officer from the 5th precinct who retired, and they transferred him to another precinct. A lot of times when cops do something, but you have to. The thing I want to tell people, you have to remain calm, because they are just as nervous as you are. They don't know what they're walking up on. I seen a video of a police stopped a SUV, a black SUV with some individuals in it, and as he approached the rear of the car and to talk to the driver, the guys in the back seat of the car let down the windows, and they had assault rifles, and they gunned down the police officers. And then they got out the car and shot both the cops, and got back in the SUV and drove off. And that was on I guess a storefront camera that caught that. Some other camera that caught it, but it was crazy. But we have to also remain calm at all times, because the cops are nervous too. They don't know what they're walking up on. And you know how people's like, and I heard stories of guys like, "Man, I'm not going back to jail if the police come get me. They're gonna have to do this and that." So that training, they really need to add crisis prevention training to the police academy training, because crisis prevention training teach you how to diffuse a hostile, volatile situation, how to use calmness, how to stance, the proper stance, which calls I forgot, it's called a support stance. So you don't stand directly in front of them, so that way it's not a challenge. If it doesn't make the person feel like you're challenging them. So what we have to do is just to be able to not go out and spend money. That's the new protest. Keep your dollars to yourself. Don't go out and protest. Silent is better. You people want to go out and vote and voice their feelings and this and that, but everybody don't have the same intentions as you. So we have to be careful what we do, how we do things. So just like Killer Mike said, we have to strategize, mobilize. I can't say everything that he said, but I understand.
Shout out and good morning to Mr. Taylor, Miss Dewan chiming in.
Hey, Dwan, how you doing, Dwan? You got the link, Dwan? Come on, holla.
Your brother said they need to stop letting anybody become cops.
Yeah, but see, that's the thing too.
Well,
go ahead, you go ahead. Because I was gonna say,
oh no, see, I wanted to, I wanted to bring in this moment, just pull in a moment of history. 99 years ago today, actually yesterday, was the beginning of the Tulsa riots, or the Tulsa massacre, or the destruction of what we know as Black Wall Street. It started on May 31st and it went through June 1st. Yesterday and today would be the 99th year marking of where people did not organize. Well, they organized in a violent way. They didn't organize to make any political changes. They used force and aggression, and many innocent lives. The death toll still is unknown, because there are mass graves of Black people or Aboriginal people, for those that know what's up. that are in mass graves, man. Like that's 99 years ago. My grandmother is 89 years old. That's 10 years before she was born. Um, so anybody that has grandmothers and you are an 80s baby, you have somebody that was in that time, in that era, or close to it. So, I mean, for them to expect us to be civilized in a time like this, you know,
Wow.
we haven't even gotten a century away, and that was again 1921. We still haven't dealt with all of the egregious acts that's been going on from the 50s and the 60s, and it still goes on here in 2020, as we can see. So I understand, from a moral standpoint, but again, sometimes you got to speak the language that they're used to. Sorry.
Yeah, I understand. Gary, keep talking, man, for a second. Answer your latest question. I'm trying to get our guest on the line with us, Sheriff Carl Mobley. So go ahead, G. And
But yeah, I mean,
ladies and gentlemen, y'all feel free to chime in.
and not, like I said, not to go against anyone. We as a people, for over what's been 60 years, have not had a definitive leader, um, or definitive leadership.
Right.
We all have different different opinions, different aspects, and
Different beliefs.
it is what it is. Yeah. And that kind of leads us to a point where we can easily be divided, because if we can't get on one plan of action, if me being comfortable just seeing someone protest as opposed to lending a hand, going down there, I don't care if it's 5 minutes, man.
And
This is
also,
something that
everybody is
we
so
are.
sensitive.
Yeah. Say that again, Shamika.
I say, and besides, everybody is so sensitive. I mean, people don't want to offend nobody. Everybody, well, I sit back and I'll do this and I'll do that. They don't want to get involved from not wanting to step on somebody's toes or be seen in a different light. You
Mm-hmm.
know, it's too much. Everybody, like you said, need to come on one accord. We have one mission, and
Yeah.
we have a goal.
Right.
So let's just all, put all the extra stuff aside and come together.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think we have to have we need a leader. Um, I think we have multiple leaders, but we all have to get a structure where we could get the information out simultaneously to all the leaders in each different state, um, to be able to organize and to be able to structure and implement our agenda to go into congressmen, go into these offices and talk. We have to select a spokesperson to go and speak and represent us at these different meetings. Find out, and also we need to post when the next election, when the next town hall meeting, because we need to know what's going on, what's been implemented in these laws, what's the underwriting in these laws. Sometimes the media only publicize the laws that's on top, but what about the things on page 5, 6, 7, and 8? Those latter pages. So we have to actually come together, and we all have to take the initiative to understand their game, understand what they're doing, and just pay attention, because we are so reactive. We need to be proactive, and be on top of things before we act. I see G shaking head. What's wrong, G? What you thinking, G?
I mean, nah, everybody needs to do their part. That's the thing. Back, in the civil rights era, you had people that were willing to be on the front line. The protest is the front line, where while you had people on the front line, you had Dr. King and others in the White House negotiating. You had mothers that were preparing meals. You had people when boycotts was going on giving rides, while others were protesting. Like, the protesters are the only thing that seems to be living a surviving piece of the civil rights movement that people, when something happens where we are fed up, there are people that are willing to go into the street, willing to face tear gas, willing to be ostracized by the media as soon as somebody incites a riot. You know, one person that breaks windows, or 30 people out of thousands that decides that they want to tear something up or break something, man. Like man, it is, you know,
Yeah.
it is what it is.
Wrong.
But
It's
at the end
wrong.
of the day, at the end of the day, people have to do their part. We have lawyers that know the law.
Yes.
You know, we have people that chase clout, that want to be leaders. You know, where's your Umar Johnsons? Where's your what's the other cat? Like, I mean,
Brother
like
Polite.
real speed. Yeah.
So hey, our guest is he just chimed in. He's here in the building. We Sheriff Carl Mobley is on the line right now, but I have a few questions, so I know he's listening. I have to turn my mic down. I am a little too hot. All right, check. So definitely want to ask him some questions on his thoughts and far as what he see, how he feel, because he's a native of Atlanta. He attended high school here in Atlanta. But this first question I want to ask him is how. Let me fix this camera right. Get this camera right. How do Mr. Mobley? This question's for you. I'm gonna bring you on shortly. Just want you to think about this. That's like if we have sons. How do we supposed to teach our sons? What's the process and the procedure? How do we address a cop when a cop approach us? And also, what's your thoughts and feelings about this weekend? And also, we're going to talk about your campaign. Thirdly, ladies and gentlemen, allow me to bring to you Atlanta's own Atlanta native. Please, if you're in DeKalb County, please, we need you to go out and vote for Sheriff Carl Mobley. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Grady Taylor Show.
What's up?
Hey,
how
brother
are y'all
Carl.
this morning?
We're doing great, sir. How are you, sir?
Oh, man, I'm tired. I've been out campaigning. I'm running a little late. I'm doing 15 million things, so bear with me. Everything's good, other than what's going on in the cities around our nation.
Right.
You know, emotions and tensions are high.
Yes, sir.
But hopefully we can come together and when we can settle some things down.
Okay. I had a question for you. Like for us, me and G are fathers, and there's plenty of other fathers out here. How do we have the talk with our sons on how to address a police officer when they approach us? What's the proper procedures and how should we handle it?
All right. Well, I too am a father. I have two boys.
Yes, sir.
And that has happened to my oldest son before. Mm-hmm. What I suggest you do is first, when the police come to your car, answer the questions that he give you. And it's not just for boys.
The signal's dropped. Hello? Hello? Hold on. I think yeah, we got...
Can you hear me?
Now we can.
I'm back. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Yep.
Okay. It's not just for our boys, it's for all of our men of color. So let's get that understood. It's not just for our young kids, it's for us too. Because being in law enforcement, nobody knows I'm in law enforcement, I'm off.
Right.
So here's the thing. I always tell all men of color, if the police come up to your car and any law enforcement officer come up to your car and they ask you for your ID and you're driving, give them your ID. You know, it's better to fight something on the back end than to try to fight out down the street. You can always obtain video, a lawyer, representation on the back end. You can't fight it out down the curb.
Right.
You know, if you're dead or you beat up, that's not going to help the cause at all. So I try to tell everybody, do what's asked of you first. And so many times now, I'm speaking on both sides. You know, as a law enforcement officer, I've walked up to people's car and they know they have done wrong, but they have attitudes. Mm-hmm. You know, we got to lose our attitudes.
Right.
You know, let's say it like this, DJ, GB,
Yes, sir.
If I call into your station now, and before you even pick up, I go in on you and start with the attitude and cursing, what's your reaction?
I'm gonna be defensive. Yes.
Exactly. So we have to be mindful of that. We have to be mindful of that. When an officer walk up to your car and you starting in already before you even give them opportunity to say why they stopped you. Now, I'm not going to say every officer is right. Okay? I'm not.
Mm-hmm.
But that's why you pick up your phone and you dial 911 and you say, I have an officer that stopped me at Memorial Drive in 285. Can I get a supervisor out? And you keep that 911 operator on your phone because everything is being recorded at that time.
Oh, okay.
There's no mistakes about it. It is being recorded. If he disrespects you, he curses at you, anything out of the ordinary, it's being recorded.
Okay. Wow, that's some great information. Wow. And I know you're running for sheriff for DeKalb County.
That's right. That's right. We need everybody out to vote.
Can you give our listeners that's listening your background, where you from, neighborhood and school that you attended?
I'm a native Atlantan, born at Grady Memorial Hospital. I am a Grady baby, raised in DeKalb, been in DeKalb a whole life. Graduated from Gordon High School. And I too was a victim of police harassment. June of 1984. I remember the day so well because I threatened the officer. I was so mad at the way he treated us. And okay, it was not an officer of color, so he treated us pretty bad. And I was 17 at the time. And I had to really rack my brain as a career of what I want to do. And I was displeased with the way I was treated at that time. So what better way to serve my community than to become a police officer? So I joined the police department to serve my community and try to make a change. And for 30 years, I did that. Now God has called me up to do something higher. I'm running for sheriff. It was something that I never thought I would be doing. It was not a vision of mine. But now I'm running for sheriff. And the only way we can make change in our community is to have more young men of color to get into this profession so we can start governing our own.
Yes, govern our own neighborhoods, our own community, because the people that patrols our community don't understand us or our culture. I want to ask our panel, do you guys have any questions for Sheriff Mobley?
You can say Officer Mobley. I ain't the sheriff yet. Let's pray.
Hey, we speak those things into existence. Officer Mobley. Okay.
Well,
let's pray.
Officer Mobley, I happen to live in Clayton County where we have Sheriff Victor Hill. And, there are, I guess there are different opinions in Clayton County. I support the brother because he has been very aggressive.
He's made a difference.
Absolutely. He absolutely has. They can be stretched in because Clayton County is a difficult area to cover as a whole. But man, I see the work that they're doing, and I think the attitude can go both ends. I don't want to argue on that one, but man, as far as your administration goes with Decatur or DeKalb County, what would be your I guess your main focus coming in?
Well, right off the bat, we got to get back to our community. We have to start teaching us how to act. Everybody wants to say the police need more training. The police need more training. No, we all need to be trained.
Yes.
It's not just the police. We as citizens also have to be trained on how to conduct ourselves as well. So, we want to start getting back in the community, bridging that gap with the community to build that trust back up. Right now, there's no trust between law enforcement and the community. We got to get back in the community. I want to reenact the COPS program, putting officers on bicycles as much as we can, getting into the schools when they open, just getting back into the community. But think about this, getting into the community. Now, people could like or dislike Victor Hill, but Victor Hill has made wonders in the Clayton County community because he's got back in the community. Now, crime has been reduced in Clayton County. Think about it. Crime has been reduced in Clayton County. Why is that? he's
Heavy
made a
patrolling.
difference. He's back in
Yeah.
the community.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yes. Yes. Heavy patrolling. Now let me ask you this. What are your I am an advocate of crisis prevention training. Would you as a sheriff when you get that chair, would you make that a priority that the officers
You
take
say
some form of
what kind of training?
crisis prevention training?
We already have that.
Okay.
Listen, let me tell you this. Let me tell
Okay.
you this. Make no mistakes about it. We get trained out the Yahoo. We have so much training, it's unbelievable. We already have crisis training.
Okay.
But you cannot make a person not act a fool if they want to act. But there again, you have to understand this, and I don't want to make it a racial thing.
Right.
But let's just be plain and clear about it. Mm-hmm. You can't take somebody who's never been out of Dunwoody and tell them to come down on the south side and be comfortable. But you could take somebody who's been on the south side and put them in Dunwoody, and we know how to act.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So we train, but we got to train the people as well on how to train. But you can't make a person not act stupid. I'm just gonna tell you. I just took a use of force class online, and it was so funny all the things that we were going through. And I'm like, I've been doing this for 30 years. I just retired. I know this in my head back and forth. But you can't tell a person not to act stupid.
Right.
That comes from within and home training. Now, there again, we got to get our young men back into this profession.
Yes.
And being able to govern our own community.
Okay. Right. Well, I can only speak from my experience and what I dealt with, but how a lot of times, kids they're so engaging, far as being aggressive with officers. But we also have to keep in mind as an adults, as men, the book says soft tongue turns away harsh wrath. When you catch somebody that's being irate, let them get it out. Let them get it out, because that's what I did when I had to, I was dealing with prisoners, or if I was working security in a nightclub or whatever like that. I just let them vent. I said, okay, now you said your speech, let me say mine. Look,
right.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Yes,
You're
sir.
right.
So we sometimes we have to diffuse them by letting them unload. Okay. And then once you unload, I'm like, okay, and in a soft, calm tone. Okay, but listen to me. We can get this over with faster. All I need is your ID. Let me run a check, and then you can go home. And I had a few officers that stopped me, was real nice like that. But I know some officers that have a bad day coming into work, and a lot of times it only takes a hot second for something to trigger their anger. But people, we have to be smart too. We cannot hold like Officer Mobley said. We cannot hold court on the street. Just let the officer say what he's going to say, and then you calmly state what you want to say, but don't antagonize the officer. Don't provoke him, because you at the mercy. But remember, as he said earlier, if would you say call 911 and keep them on the line, because everything
is being recorded. It's being recorded.
He didn't say Facebook Live. He said call 911. Even though Facebook Live.
And here's the thing. Here's the thing. FBI got access to that 911 recording right off the bat.
Yeah. So you heard it here. And this is kind of information that you're not going to get on other platforms. I didn't even know that. Now FBI have access. Wow. So
have access. They call in and get it at whenever. It's not a. I mean, they don't have to wait 24. When they call in and say we want it because of this investigation, they get it right then.
Yes. So let me ask you this. So what would be your solution?
Now,
hold on, Juicy. Hold on. Let me ask this one question.
Is that Miss Shamika from last night?
Oh, yeah, Shamika up there too. But that was comedian Juicy.
Oh Lord.
Shamika's up there too. G. Clark, you missed it. We put on the R&B show last night.
Oh yeah.
Yes, Lord.
I was hoping he wouldn't remember.
Yeah, I remember. We got plans for your wedding.
Yeah, hey man, look, I don't hooked up 2 couples on the mix last night. Oh my goodness, we're gonna do it again. We just got to pick a day to do it, but it was fun. But let me ask you this question, Officer Mobley,
So
Sheriff
ask
elect.
this question before I forget, Grady.
Okay, go ahead.
Now,
All right, go
once
ahead.
you become sheriff, because I'm in Stone Mountain, I love my county officers and all of that. I have a nonprofit organization, but what I would love to see us do on something to get like a fatherhood program, and let's get the
I can hear
men
you.
of the cab active.
Okay.
Her phone is breaking up. Did you hear her?
I
She
barely. She said,
she's
"What are we gonna do to get the men active?"
yeah, she had a nonprofit organization, but she wanted to figure
Yeah.
out how can she put on a function to get the men involved. Am I right? Correct, Juicy? Right.
Yeah. Because I want us
Well,
to be able to do something on a regular with the citizens of DeKalb County. Um,
well,
because
as you
one
said,
thing about it, and I always say that, when I see my DeKalb County officers, I always thank them for the job that they do. I love our officers. I love my city, and love to see us be able to get a little bit more active communities. So I was trying to see if we can put something together once you get in office.
we will most definitely be able to put something together. That's one of the things I want to do as far as our young men. So many of our young men get bamboozled, hoodwinked, sent to court without representation. I want to start holding a youth forum or a men forum that just bring men in and let us start conversing and telling each other some of our stories so we can start working together to get out of our stories. Like when I got sent to court for child support, I was paying child support. Only thing the mother said was, I want to put down on paper. I said, okay, well, all right. But I just paid the attorney $1,500. But the judge turned around and said, well, we're going to leave the amount the same, but we're going to make you pay her attorney fees. I said, why am I paying her attorney fees when I'm paying child support? He's on my insurance. The judge told me the good got to suffer with the bad. We need to have a forum or some type of round table that our young men could come in and have dialogue with other people to find out solutions to those kind of problems. What can we do to those judges that mistreat us in court? What can we do? Who can we go to? That's something that's not being done for us. Or just a lot of us men. I'm not even going to say us, just a lot of young men who don't know which avenues to take because we don't talk as people. We don't talk as a community anymore. Everybody want to be social media. But let's put a table together, like you're saying. Let's put a round table together. We might have to go in a community center somewhere and just have sessions where people could sit at different tables and talk and see what problems they have so we can brainstorm, put our heads together. But we got to start, and it's unfortunate our community our community leaders, the people we've elected, have just failed us in so many ways because once they get in office, they forget about who put them there.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so we definitely have to come together so we can plan that, and also we can use this platform to be able to gather
That's right.
young men together and to be able to broadcast or wherever we can do like live webinars because men across the
That's
country
right.
need this information, and I think this will be a big help. Before I ask my next question, Shamika, Gary, do you guys have a question?
I have a couple of comments from the listeners. We had Tristan. She chimed in. She said, "You should be able to tell a professional how not to act. If an officer is too afraid to work with the people of the community, they need not to take the job. I hate this argument because we are the only ones that get accused of provoking our own murders." That's kind of hard to argue with. I understand. I understand the argument on both sides, but at the end of the day, I would think the professional would hold that as much responsibility. I understand we can't argue in the streets. I understand that we should not provoke. But just as an officer could be having a bad day, that kind of negates the fact that the person being stopped has a bad day as well. And I think we need to have understanding of that on both sides. You know,
That's right.
it would be a perfect world if everybody reacted the way that they were supposed to when it was, you know, a situation that deemed it absolutely mandatory for them to act in that way. But we don't live in that world, so I would think that that responsibility would be held on the professional more so than the one that has to experience whatever that person is putting them through.
Yes. Yeah.
So that just goes back to communication on both
Right.
sides. Doesn't
Yes, sir.
matter who it is. When we fail to communicate, that's what happens. When people can't communicate and have a dialogue, don't matter who you are. That's what we have, and that's a lot of the things we run into now when you got people that's not able to communicate.
Right.
I agree. I
Yep.
want to follow up on that, on what he's saying, because today it's like a control thing with men. Some women too, but with men, you can't say anything to another man without them being aggressive or offended. So when an officer approaches them, they're automatically on 10, because when the officer says something to them, they don't want to be told that they're wrong, even though they know they're wrong. So like he said,
Right?
it's a communication thing. Why is it that we can't just sit and communicate in a professional manner? I understand you're upset, or you may be nervous. You probably have things going on in your life. I don't know what you're going through at home. So I don't understand the automatic aggression when somebody approaches you. So how do we break down that barrier of communication, or people thinking, oh, the police think they better than us, or they think they can just talk to me any kind of way? How do we end that cycle? Because I feel like if you can have better communication between the two, then it wouldn't be so much hostility from the get-go, and then that's how it escalates to violence sometimes.
Well, there again, we got as law enforcement officers. Unfortunately, that does exist. But as law enforcement officers, we don't have to go extra over and beyond in getting into our communities, coming to community functions, coming to community barbecues, coming to the community school function where you got what's the day when the kids go outside and playing. We have to start being seen back in our community, engaging. Because think about this: when you get to know the officer in your community, you can talk to him better than just the average officer that you never see.
You're right.
Mm-hmm.
So we have to get back into our community and being in the community, being engaged. Like I say, if we find out we got a community barbecue, as your sheriff, you're going to see me come through there. I might not stay, but I'm going to do a drive-by. We're going to be up in there. We're going to be eating. We're going to be engaging. That's the things we have to start doing. That was what I did as an officer when I was on the cops program. We rode bicycles in the community. We had more people calling us, telling us, I'm just going to tell you, such and such did such and such last night. Don't tell them I told you.
Mm-hmm.
That was how we cleaned up Scottsdale for a long time.
I remember as a kid growing up in Fourth Ward, Atlanta, we had like the King Center before they built the church. There was a King Recreation Center, and the 5th Precinct would have their basketball league there. So you have the APD versus the detectives, and that was a good thing for us to get to know our officers because they came down and played basketball a lot, and they got a chance to interact with the kids and stuff. So we got a chance to see them out of uniform. So it kind of, can I use the word humanize them? It kind of,
yeah,
made them more relatable because like, oh, he got a game. He got, so and I think that's what we need. That go ahead, Mr.
It lets you know they were personable.
Yes. So I really think that we need that again for our youth to be able to see our officers in plain clothes having a good time. And
out of the police car, that's the question. We got to get out of that police car and get more engaged.
Yes, sir. So I have one question for you. I know you have a lot on your plate today, and I really appreciate you taking time to come in. Now, what advice can you give us as Americans, as citizens, on the proper way to protest? How should we go about protesting?
First off, violence is not going to solve anything because violence only brings violence. So
Right.
if you're going out and destroying your city and your neighborhood, what do you think the head people of that community or that city is going to do? They have to protect the other citizens. So you got to understand, if you're going out and start committing crimes and tearing up, looting, and burning, their first job is to protect the citizens that are not involved in that. So you better be expected that you're going to see the rest. Now, what I suggest we do, if you're going to protest peacefully. But let me ask y'all this. Have they told y'all their agenda for their protest? We know that there's violence. We know that it's been a lot of abuse from the police officers. But no one is sitting down saying, these are our demands. Think about it. They're out there protesting, but no one person, no 2, 3, 4 people is sitting down at the table saying, we have a list of demands we'd like to see before they go to acting crazy and committing violence.
Okay.
Let's have a list of demands for the city to meet. You know, whether that's saying, okay, we got 10 things we would like to see the city do with officers, and let's see them done before you want to tear up everything. So
Right.
we got to have let's make a list before we start protesting and tearing up our city. Second, if we're going to protest, what's the worst thing you can do to a person? It ain't to tear their stuff. It's to hit them economically.
Yes.
Let's stop riding martyr. Let's stop buying whatever stores we've been shopping at for a month. So that's how you make a difference. You start. You remember when they boycotted the bus short down in Alabama when they, back in the day when they stopped riding the buses for however long.
Yes.
We have to do stuff like that. Let's stop. You remember when they had the pandemic first kind of opened up and people were standing in line to buy Jordans?
Yep.
Why?
I don't know. I'm still trying to figure that out. They got the stimulus check and want to spend it.
Let's stop standing in line. When the stimulus package came through, everybody ran to Walmart and bought TVs. Why?
Yes. I don't know.
If we're gonna boycott, if we're gonna protest, let's stop spending our money.
Yes. Yeah. And you said the same thing that I said earlier in the show about the bus ride and stop spending money. And I mentioned that I think we need to do a 90-day don't spend your money. Keep your money 90 days. 90 days. For 90 days,
that's how you do it.
Yeah. Because I've seen the effects of it. Yeah. I've seen the effects of it when people, matter of fact, this pandemic showed it in the beginning. Everybody was closing business. JC Penney is about to close. There's a lot of stores that are getting ready to close, and what it did is it changed and it shifted the way the business has been handled. Everything is overseas. There's no more heart stores. But I want to get back to your list. You said write a list.
Okay, Grady. Grady, before you even go there, I want to show you an example. The president want to open up the country, right?
Right.
Why do you think he want to open up the country? He wants that money.
Money.
Now, think about this. He's opened up restaurants, nail salons, beauty salons, and all of these, but he hasn't opened up the county courthouses. The county courthouses hasn't opened up. DMV hadn't opened up. You can't even get your tags. Why is that? Because he wants your money. Y'all think about that. He's opening up. The restaurants open up. They're talking about opening up nightclubs and all that because why? Money flow.
State tax.
But you can't go. The tag office isn't open. DMV isn't open. Courthouses are still not open. They're not open. Why is that? So, like you said, that makes a difference when money is being spent.
Yeah, and just because he's opening up these different places means that you don't have to go.
Exactly.
So they're not forcing you to go, even though now they may try to do a loopholes for those who work at the nightclubs or whatever like that. Well, no, that don't affect unemployment because nightclub business is pretty much cash on the tables a lot of time.
But you got to understand, a lot of things being food, alcohol, money is being spent.
Yeah.
That's why they're allowing these things to open up. So we got to be smart about what we want to protest. Let's protest. I don't
Hmm.
have a problem with protesting, but let's have an agenda.
Yes. Yeah. And I was saying about the agenda and about the list. Once we acquire our list, who do we send the list to?
Well, there again, what I just said about our community leaders. We're going to find people in our community that could stand up and take the helm and start leading us.
We
And,
don't
you know, as your sheriff, let me tell
uh
you, as your sheriff, I would be one of those people that would sit at the round table and say, let's sit down and talk. Let's see what we need to do.
Yes, sir. And and the thing too about some community leaders, and I think the reason why some people are afraid to step up because our community leaders they're getting death threats, especially the ones that come up that attempt to take the lead, take the reins. They getting those death threat phone calls and stuff like that. So also people, if when you're a leader and you get those death threats, please let it be known. Call 911.
Exactly.
Um,
Exactly.
Call the police. You have the right. The police serve and protect who call who first. Am I correct, Brother Carl?
Well, if it's a threat on your life, we need to know about it.
Yes.
You know, we got to know about it.
You know,
You know,
and
we have to document it, and you're allowed to protect yourself. So it needs to be known.
yeah, and see, and once you call and file a report, so if anything does happen that you have to defend yourself, it's documented.
Right. It's
So
documented.
so even if
But
you're
let
being,
you know, let you know, we and I'm not talking about all the community leaders. I'm not talking about all our elected officials. We have a lot of elected officials that are very active in our community, especially in DeKalb County. But we need to somehow or another have people stepping forward and taking the reins and just say, look, I'm going to be here for y'all to do. I'll be at such and such center. We can get together. We can sit down and talk. And that's how we're going to start our dialogue. We got to start opening that door for communication.
yeah, definitely, we definitely need to do that because um, it's needed right now. It is so much
Yeah.
needed, and also we're definitely gonna be doing some work in the community. Shout out to Mr. Brian Bowman. We're definitely gonna put some things together. We're gonna get with you, Officer Mobley. Anything
Hey,
that
I
we can
just
do.
want to say one thing. I
Yes, sir.
want to just give the mayor of Atlanta, Keisha Lance Bottom, 2 thumbs up. Say what you want to say about her. She's stepping forward,
Yes.
and she has been a community leader. I don't think she's been getting enough credit.
Hmm.
And the police chief for the city of Atlanta, I just don't think they've been getting enough credit.
Yeah.
We've allowed them to be just bashed, but hey, they're stepping up.
Yeah, but and see the thing too. Shout out, yes. Miss Lance Bottom, hats and hearts goes out to you and the officers that are serving because and
Exactly.
she
Shout out to all the
responsible.
APD officers.
Yeah, because I was so mad when I saw the protesting and stuff. I was like, the officer didn't do anything. They're reacting based on another department in another state. Please, y'all go
Right.
travel there. Take that there. Atlanta didn't do anything. Atlanta police officer
Let's
didn't.
not
If
help
they did,
our city.
yeah. Yeah, and I looked at it the
So,
same way, and it breaks my heart. They don't set fire to the Ferris wheel, they face the CNN building. They
for
just
what?
destroy our city.
So I pray for all the officers in the city of Atlanta. I pray
Yeah.
for the mayor, Miss Lance Bottom, and the chief. I think they're doing the best job they can for what
Yeah.
they're dealing with. And I just think we as a city need to come together a little bit better and stop allowing outside influences to dictate and infiltrate how we're treating our city.
Right. You remember back in 1983, 1984? Remember when the Miami Boys came over to try to take over? Are you
Oh
familiar?
yes, Lord.
And
Yes, Lord.
you saw how the city came together to run them out. So I
Yeah,
think
put
we
a
need.
stop to it.
Yeah, we put a stop to it. So we, as citizens of Atlanta, we may have to do that, not violently, but forcefully. Like, hey, don't do that. This is our city. Don't come down here.
Right.
These people who
Right.
I think 100 some people was arrested, and most of these people didn't even live in the city.
Correct.
You know,
Correct.
but
Correct.
and then they use Dr. King's speeches. They go get out civil rights activists to try to appease us. I mean, which is good, but these people not from here. They're not listening. And the thing too, the government does too. They remember when they assassinated Dr. King and those riots broke out and stuff. What did the government do? They gave us a concert, James Brown, James Brown concert. You know, that's what they do. They put our entertainers in front of us.
And I'll tell you this. I was looking on, I was up last night late looking at your show, but as soon as I got off, I just started looking at Facebook, and they were showing all the pictures of officers and other ethnicities who incited the riots by breaking those and spray painting and setting fire to things. We have to start paying attention to that also.
Right. Right. Well, we definitely, have to pay attention to it. And
Right,
I have.
'cause,
Go ahead.
Officer, how many times can you count on one hand how many times you've seen black arsonists? Is setting fires like something that we do?
That's not something we're not known for doing that. Now I can't say I've known for some people. Some of us set some fires. Now don't get me wrong.
Now I know there's exceptions to the rule. I know,
but as a whole, we don't go out and tear up buildings and stuff like that.
We don't.
But we gotta be smart about what we're protesting and how we're coming together.
Yeah, cause the only thing, back growing up, our mama told us we don't tear. If we can't pay for it, don't tear it up. And also, black people don't play with fire anyway. Because the only thing we gonna light up is a barbecue grill, a cigarette, or a blunt. That's all black folks gonna do with fire.
But my thing is, those people, when they're inside riot, but if they think about it, when they'll set out something and start saying, let's get together and protest. We don't know where it's coming from. We just hear the word protest, and we get together and start marching, and then they infiltrate and put their people out and start tearing up things. Well, who gets pointed at?
Us.
Right.
Us.
We got to be smart about what we're going to protest.
Yes.
Well, I mean, I really don't see a problem with the protesters. I was saying before you came on, man, protesters are seeming to be the last living piece of evidence of the civil rights movement. The people that are willing to be, seen, that want to be heard on the street level. What we're missing again is the ones that are going behind the scenes, the ones that can go to the county leaders, the ones that go to the city officials, the ones that can go to the White House and say, hey, we have people out here in Atlanta that have these demands. And I don't know how long I can control them. How you understand what I'm saying?
Right.
But
that's what I'm saying. We gotta get our leaders. We gotta come together and figure out who's gonna be our community leaders in our cities at this point, because we're in desperate need. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not disagreeing about the protesting.
Yeah.
I agree. I'm saying protest peacefully and not allow people to infiltrate what our ranks and our organizations and go out and start committing crimes within the protest. There's nothing wrong with protesting, but let's turn them. Here's the thing: if we see people dressed in black with masks on, spray paint, let's point them out.
Yeah.
Let's point them out. Put them on black.
Yeah. If you think about it, the protest, the protest that was before Dr. King's death, that in Memphis, that turned violent, which caused him to go back to Memphis to eventually be assassinated. The same thing happened. It was supposed to be a peaceful protest, and somebody insinuated a riot. Now, I'm not certain that was from the lighter aspect of the skin delineation. However, it seems to be something that continuously happens. We maybe don't organize, but we figure out, hey, if after something happened, we're showing up downtown Atlanta to speak our opinions, to show, because we know cameras are going to be on. We know if the crowd gets big enough, the nation will see it. We know if it gets if it's long enough, the world will see it. But yeah, it just seems like every time that happens, it's someone with an ulterior motive that wants to smash a window, flip a car, burn down a building,
and we get blamed for it.
Yeah. And sometimes we join in. I can't turn a blind eye. I have seen our people over the weekend and during the week participate in it.
But they participate for a different reason though, because if you talking to somebody and I'm not being heard, what am I gonna resort to? Yelling or something that's gonna get your attention.
Right.
Yeah.
I agree. That's why I said we got to get together. We got to have a game plan. I'll tell you this. I can't speak for everybody, but what I would do as a sheriff, I would set the tone by saying, let's come together. Let's sit down. We're going to put some heads together.
Yes.
You know, I'm going to be out in front and say, let's sit down and talk. We got to figure out what we can do to stop this. But having a key figure out in front is what's going to be the helpful key for us.
Yeah, and also we have to, whoever's going to be out front, we definitely have to protect them. You know, we definitely got to do that. We got to protect our own because they, I saw movies, the Malcolm X movie. There's no man that shouldn't have that much power. Every time we get ahead, they try to assassinate him or do something or defame him or plant stuff on them. So we definitely have to be our brother's keeper in that aspect of protecting our leader. Man, this is a great show, man. I want to thank everybody for just chiming in, all the listeners. Y'all if y'all have any comments, leave your comments. If any questions, how can they reach you, Officer Mo? I just keep wanting to say sheriff. I just feel it, man.
That's okay.
Okay.
Speak into existence, brother. I appreciate it because I get complained on because I don't really speak. I'm just a humble person. I'm hoping and praying that I can get there. But I appreciate everybody else speaking it. You can reach me at Carl Mobley 4 sheriff at gmail.com. That's the email, or Carl Mobley 4sheriff.com.
All right, I'm trying to type that in the ticket.
I'll text it to you. I'll send it to you.
Okay. Yeah, I was trying to put it on the screen.
Okay. It's Carl Mobley, Mobley 4 sheriff.
Let's see what we got to do.
.com. And then
that's why I'm gonna send your wedding.
Yeah, you send that. I'm gonna make sure it be there. You had me and the first lady over here picking out songs for y'all.
I appreciate that.
Yeah, I hope that's right.
I'm gonna have to be on this rewatch, man. I gotta see what went down.
Man, look, we on the first one broadcast for about an hour and probably 40 minutes. So I got smart with Facebook and they cut me.
Grady brother is my future ex-husband. Just to bring you up to speed, G. Clark.
Yeah. We had a good time playing. We just
that's why y'all going back and forth in the okay. Right.
Yeah. So yeah, we had a good time playing some music, talk some trash and stuff like that. But hey, it is what it is, man. Hey, Mr. Carl Mobley, you know your music, bro. Man, we had a couple of selections.
Man, listen, DJ, I didn't come here. I'm from here, brother. We know music in Atlanta. We know music. We know how we're music now.
Yes, sir. Look at man, when you go do your campaign, I want to at least be a campaign DJ or promote a radio person, communication person, whatever. Because that way, we can stream live from your events and stuff. People that can't make it, especially like for the elderly who not there, we can broadcast and they can see it or whatever. Okay. We can set some monitors up in the I guess in the the waiting area.
I'm on my way to Memorial Drive and Northern Avenue, right at Memorial and 285 now to hold up some signs. So, I appreciate the shout out. I appreciate everybody's support and hey, get the word out. We need a change in our city, but we need a change in the cab.
All right, hey Rob, that's right down the street for you, Rob. Go down there and support, Rob. You get your people up there over there for North Decatur. You said North Decatur and Northern Ave, right?
Yep, Memorial Drive. I'll be right at Memorial and 285. Right in front of as a matter of fact, let me tell you, DJ, I'm campaigning right in front of the sheriff's office. Directly in front of the sheriff's office. I'm on the street.
Okay. You can't miss them, y'all. Ladies and gentlemen, make sure y'all go out there and support. Atlanta's own. This is not somebody that's outside that grew up in Alpharetta or grew up in Kentucky or somewhere. This is Decatur's own. You know what I mean? Decatur's own. Gordon High School. Sheriff Carl Mobley. Man,
hey, tell them, hey, listen. We all part of my family grew up in Kirkwood. We're from the hood.
Yeah.
East Lake Meadows. I grew up in East Lake Meadows, so
see,
I'm here.
Here all day, boy. See, greater baby, ATL is my city, boy. I love it. You know what? I have your theme song? I know. Let me ask you this. Do they count Decatur as Atlanta? I know people always call
It's
Atlanta
it's
everything.
it's 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 the cab. Hey
It's a
man, we
cap.
keeping Decatur. That's ours, baby. That's ours. That's the cab county. We ain't letting that go.
All right.
I grew up in East Lake too. What you talking?
Oh yeah. Huh? She don't. Hold on. She don't. Hold on. Come on back home, Juicy.
We gonna have to get Shamika hooked up with your brother. We can get her on the phone.
No, that's not Shamika. That's
No, that's not
Tanya.
me.
That's Tanya. Shamika got a good
Oh,
phone.
I'm sorry, Shamika. I just blasted in on you.
I was about to say, man.
I'm used to it from Grady, so it don't hurt my feelings.
Shamika get blamed for everything.
I'm
Yeah,
over here in Texas. I need to get down to Atlanta where y'all at.
yeah. We got to get
You
Shamika
sure
back
do.
home. Yeah, we got to get her back to Georgia. Yeah, she's out there in a beautiful state of I keep saying San Antonio, Texas. San Angelo is 5 hours north of San Antonio. But yeah, definitely. Yeah, we in two time zones. Though. That's how we doing it. That's how we've been doing it. When we moved to Texas, G Clark was the only one in Atlanta, and we was doing the show from there, right? And that's how I've been. We've been rolling ever since.
Man, they left.
Yep.
Well, I had to go because
Yeah.
Uncle Sam said, I was
Yeah.
a military spouse, so I had to go wherever. I had to go wherever. Juicy, are you at Juicy? I think
No.
her
Where your
internet
money?
is acting up.
Where your money?
Hey man, I appreciate you. We gonna get
I'm
out. I
here.
need to get on over to Memorial.
Okay, man. All right. I look forward to seeing you soon, man.
Is that what it is?
It's
Thank
internet.
you. I
Yeah,
Oh,
appreciate y'all.
I appreciate you and love you, brother. Be safe out there, man. Feel free.
Absolutely.
We
Thank
Appreciate
you,
have
the
a
man.
time,
platform
Doc.
here. If you need to come, we got a platform for you, brother.
Thank you, Mr. Mobley.
Well, I'll be calling you a little bit later today. Probably when I get out on the corner.
Okay. All right, we'll do. All right.
Bye, y'all.
Bye, y'all. Thank you, sir. All righty.
All
Bye.
right, man.
All right. Man, that's a great show. Remember, ladies and gentlemen, you heard it from Carl Mobley. You don't have to hold
all right.
court on the corner. Go ahead. Juicy. Juicy. Oh, she can't hear me.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Were you trying to say something?
I hear you.
Okay, I thought you were trying to say something. But yeah,
No.
okay. For the ladies, for the people that's watching the show, you heard it from Sheriff Officer Mobley. He's running for the DeKalb County Sheriff, so the election is this fall. So please go out and vote. But also, when the police approach you, don't try to hold court. If you feel that an officer is mistreating you, make sure you call 911 and ask them to request to send for them to send a supervisor. All right. Don't try to hold court there. Keep 911 on the call. The FBI is monitoring the 911 call. So
You
if
can't beat the police.
you can't beat the police, but the FBI can. Okay. So if the officer curse at you or is being hostile or violent towards you, it will be heard. Do not try to resist. Follow their orders, their commands that they give you. And the thing is to get this thing over with. You see the sheriff email address in the feed. Email the sheriff any questions, anything that you need. If you need to get in contact with him, if you want to support his campaign, please email him. He will direct you to the right resources that you need to help you to make everything happen. G. Clark, y'all got anything in closing thing to say?
In my closing, I just want to say it's
I'm
okay
gonna
to not be in control. It's okay to come down just a little bit. You don't have to be so aggressive. You don't have to be challenging all the time. We understand, we always get the bad end of the stick, as black people, but their process is set up, for us to get justice. We just have to allow it to take its course. We have to learn to be patient and learn to communicate. It's okay to be upset, but there's a time and a place for everything.
Yeah, I agree. And don't let anybody come to your house and tear up your house. Whoop, I won't say what they, but yeah, just stay home. The best way to protest, just stay home. Don't spend your money. Let's try that for 90 days. 90 days. If we can do that for 90 days, that'll be such an eye-opening experience for them. Then change will happen. They have to they have to respect your dollars when you protest, when you protest like that. G Clark, go ahead. I see you looking. All
I
out,
don't know.
man.
I mean, again, I agree. I agree with very effective, smart, peaceful measures. Again, I don't want us to forget 99 years ago on this day. It started on last night, 99 years ago, Tulsa, Oklahoma. There was a massacre there where we had the military bombed. We had quite a few. Well, the count says 300, but the count goes up yearly as mass graves are continually found. So, like, I'm with smart, effective, peaceful protests. However, if we got to bust some lips.
Yeah, I'd rather start with the pocket first before we bust lips. Because when I'm telling you, listen now, are we ready for that? Are we ready for war? No, we're not. But think about it. Let's hit them
Will we ever
economically
be?
first. Because I'm telling you something, man. When we start spending our dollars for 90 days, that affects the state police. That money, the state money they got in the account that pays them, it dissolves. That make them withdraw their money. It's just like how when the government, let's say like when the government wants to take you to court, whatever like that, they drag it out and make you use up your attorney fees. You spend your money on your attorney fees. Then after they drag you out for the 2 years or whatever like that, then they're gonna offer you a plea. What we gotta do, we gotta drag it out. We gotta hold on to our money, pay your bills, get your groceries and stuff, and pay your car insurance, whatever you need to do. Those are the main three things that and get your medicine. Number 4, get your medicine. Other than that, don't spend at these stores. Don't go to these stores. Don't travel. If you can, don't ride public transportation. But
Your boy Yiddy has joined us.
we have shout out to Yiddy, man. We have to stick together. We have to follow this structure. We have to get together, find out, we'll get our leaders, and I'll definitely we'll be talking to a young man this after this show and find out, okay, what can we do? We got a young guy, hopefully it'll be a young leader. Definitely we're gonna do all we can to protect and support whatever the movement is. But we all have to stick together, and we all have to get the word to other leaders. So what we have to do is formalize and immobilize. So hopefully gonna make some phone calls, see if I can get in touch with Killer Mike, Killer Kill. Got some people working on that call. Thank you. Thank you for your time, brother. We have to do this. We got celebrities, we got entertainers, and the masses follow them. So we gotta, first of all, keep our dollars in our pocket. Don't go out and shop at these stores and stuff, because that money they pay state taxes with that, state and federal taxes with that, and what state and federal go to back to the court system and the law department. So come on, don't keep paying these people to beat us and kill us, because all they're gonna do, all that money y'all spending in the city on them, and the companies paying those taxes, all they doing is killing our kids, killing our loved ones, and you know what? They go to court, or we'll settle out, we'll write them a check, but they can't say nothing about it. That's why you don't hear them parents talking about it, because it's a disclosure that they can't really say, certain things about the case because they already been paid. But we'll be on again. I got to close it out. I know we went a little over, but y'all email Carl Mobley. It's in the time feed. Don't let nobody come and tell up your city. It's our city. We ready? We always ready. All right. Our slogan is each one reach one, each one teach one. We love you. We out of here. Peace.
Peace.
ATL, that's my city.